I do have a history, and here it is. So it always takes me back to Guyana, and so that's what I feel that have influenced me. I even have a poem called, Two Places Called Home.
Uh-huh.
When
Uh-huh.
we say that my home, what do we really mean? Do we really mean after all these decades? Yes, here's my home, but also there's my home. My grandparents coming from South India, and they were like Madrasis, and Madrasis were not always seen as, the big part of the Hindu culture. They were like, I don't know, in India they called some of them untouchables,
Yeah.
and especially like they were dark skinned people. And there's a tendency of the admiration for light skinned people, and that may come from colonization. So I had a bit of a heightened awareness of skin color,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
culture,
Mm-hmm.
religion, history, place of origin, and being involved in the human resources field and also moving into the human rights side of policies and programs. It really opened up me to, well, where am I from?
Yep.
So I was able to find while I'm adapting to a new country that I have not forgotten from whence I've come.
While you were in Guyana, how much writing did you do?
When I was in Guyana,
Yes.
yeah, I wrote several poems when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
After, as I mentioned, I was inspired to write those two for the booklet.
Yeah.
And I continued writing and writing was a part of my life because, as I mentioned, I used to have pen pals all over the world. And I used to have creative ways of describing where I live, like Covent Garden is named after a place in England. And, being a former British colony and growing up with speaking English only and living in Canada, I brought that with me. But while I was there, I would write to my pen pals about the garden, or I would say I'm in a place called Paradise. It's like a paradise. Even though we had a mud road, I never said we had mud road. So I used to have this imagination of the place I was living in, and that helped me to create more poems when I was there. Yeah, that growing up in Guyana, we were so busy with surviving, working, going to school,
Uh-huh.
and carrying on with life. We didn't have that, at least for me, I didn't have that consciousness about my grandparents' world and my ancestral heritage. It was only when I came to Canada I became more aware of the diversity of cultures in this land. Then I realized that I would like to know my own
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that I can tell a born Canadian or a new immigrant to Canada, I too have a history. I
Mm.
found myself doing a lot more research. So when I went back to Guyana, I went to the archive, and as I mentioned earlier, I was thankful for some information about my grandparents. I saw
Yeah.
the date they came, their names, and the
The
details about
ship
the
that came
record,
on. Yeah.
recording, their
Mm-hmm.
immigration record.
Yeah.
And I started to have imagination. So it influenced my writing. And like we all had, in my family, we all had Madrasi names like Munsami, Kunsami, Ranganaiki, and my name was Almelul. But what happened is when you're in English uh,
Official.
orientation
Yeah.
and you go to school and you write your exam, you don't write about your birth name. You write what your calling name is. So my calling name was Janet. So I wrote all of my, exams in my name and then,
Uh-uh.
of course, changed it to Janet.
Yeah. Huh.
But in my first book, I did put the name Janet Alamalu Naidu.
Yeah.
I tried to reclaim it there. And to answer your question, some of the words found their way into my poems. And yeah, that is true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I even spoke to some Tamil folks here in Toronto,
Uh-huh.
who gave me some words like "Hello, brother, welcome, welcome." That's when they arrive in Guyana. So I have a verse there saying in Tamil, "Welcome," and it's got and so there's only some things you can remember. The loss of culture really is about imagination, and you can only imagine that when you go to a function and you see how people celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
For example, where I live now in Toronto, there's a Tamil temple called I forgot the name now, but in any case, I went into it a few times and I realized that I am part of that culture in terms of historical, but I'm also not because I'm like British educated, English oriented, and so
Westernized sort of.
there's a limited amount of information that comes to what we call retention.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I was raised as a Christian, so that also has another element of distance, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, you can say.
But growing up in Guyana, going to the Indian movies, listening to music blasting in the village, it's in your blood. You don't have to be of a religious background to enjoy just being Guyanese,
Yeah. Yeah.
meaning everybody is there from some other place, but they're all growing up together. We were all growing up together as, one people, like, one people in the land.
Yeah. I see you have a poem here in memory of Lakshmi Kalicharan. How well did you know Lakshmi?
Well, I was introduced to her when I came to Guyana to launch my first book of poems, Winged Heart.
Oh,
Um, and because she was in the cultural, promoting Indian culture
yes.
in the field, um, she emceed the launching of my book. That's how I met her.
Wow.
And we
Nice.
kept in touch. And I used to have a video somewhere, if I could still find it, where it was held on Blissingen Road, yes, at a restaurant. And there were several people there. Sash Saw came, I knew him too.
Uh-huh.
Even Paloma Muhammad was writing at the time, and she also came and read a couple of my poems in the lounge.
Wow.
That's
Ah.
how I knew Lakshmi Kalichuran. I do have to say that very sad to hear about Lakshmi Kalichuran.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I think that given all that she was doing to help promote culture and not herself in terms of for the people and for the country, something could be done in her memory, a landmark of some kind.
What
We
bothered
have
me most.
places in Mexico, a poet in Mexico,
Uh-huh.
forgot her name, and they have a landmark in her honor. Guyana needs to have some landmarks.
Yep. Yep. I agree
So
there.
when tourists come, and tourists are now going to come to Guyana more now, we
Yeah.
would like to see the cultural heritage um,
Depicted.
where visitors and tourists can go to see landmarks.
Yeah.
You see landmarks in Europe, you see landmarks in Canada and different places, and even in the Caribbean, And I feel that Guyana needs more landmarks
Mm,
to
I
remember
agree.
history,
I
remember
agree that.
important
That's right.
people.
Yeah.
Well, everybody is important, but
Yes, people who have done
this one, it's called Another Ship, Kumari.
yes.
The ship sailed again, transplanting an ancient well unsealed in the drumming of your heart. The tempest came like a dolak,
Haha.
ravenous in your arms,
mm,
Lakshmi.
mm. Mm. Mhm. You know, the great loss about Lakshmi Kalcharan, well, we lost the soul, but then the archival things she had in her home. Every time she travels, she brings back a piece of archival material from India,
Mm-hmm.
mainly from India, around the Caribbean, and things like that. A lot of documents she had collected, and they all went up in a flame. That was a great loss because she was a great anthropologist, you can say, right? Collecting these things
Mm-hmm.
and keeping them. That was a great loss.
Yes.
Yeah,
That is a tragedy. That's a
it
tragic
was.
situation. Yeah.
What about your prose writing, those biographies that you did? I mean, you're given more to
Prose
poetry.
writing?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, actually, Petamber, I have written several short stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not yet ready for publication because I've written some that are creative nonfiction
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and fiction. So I asked the publisher recently, do I merge them? And they says you can, and you can just state that they put them in different sections: creative nonfiction and fiction. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do.
Okay.
But uh, last year, I took a course at the University of Toronto to just strengthen my prose writing.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I wrote three short stories through the course. So I haven't published them yet, but
Okay.
that would be my goal.
Next.
Apart from poetry, which I always love and will always continue to write, um, I like to move into the short story writing.
Good
And
for
I
you.
have I have six stories actually. You speak good English. At our recitation, a room full of readers from diverse backgrounds, someone greets me with a big smile. You speak good English. It comes like a compliment, as if pronunciation with less accent seems admirable. I know the drill. At first, I begin to explain myself without a struggle, but then excitement fills my space. My journey of pride comes alive. I begin with where I was born and my parents' birthplace. I even emphasize British colonization to reinforce my good English, as if to impress.
Yep.
You do not need to spell out words about the loss of ancestral heritage and their journey across oceans, how Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, and more rapidly went down the drain. You begin to explain migration like a clock ticking, so much to say, so little time. You know the trials of settlement and the manner of articulation, where consonants and vowels cascade.
We can stop there, Janet. But this one, my journey of pride comes alive. I begin with where I was born and my parents' birthplace. I even emphasize British colonization. Right? It sort of captures everything that you've been writing about. From whence we came to the second migration, how we came, about our culture, our identity, loss of culture, loss of language, and where we're heading next. Janet, this has been a good conversation, a pretty interesting conversation. Thank you so very much for.
Thank you to Petamber. It's been my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to be part of your program. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.